everyone, I'm Gemma. I'm 14. If you're my age or younger, you'll probably think that what I'm about to tell you is unbelievable. For example, when your mom wakes you up in the morning, can you tell her, I played Roblox until 4 a.m. I'm really tired. I'm not going to school today. That's exactly what I told my mom yesterday, and she said, sleep tight, darling, and gave me a kiss on the cheek. I'll give you another example. If you told your father when you were 12 years old, I want to get a tattoo. Do you know any good tattoo artists? Would he tell you, there's a girl at my office who has really cool tattoos. I'll ask her for her artist's number. That's exactly what my dad told me. Next week, when I showed him the dragon tattoo I got on my arm, he said, it looks amazing. You should get one on your other arm, too. As I said at the beginning, you might not believe any of this, because as everyone knows, parents like to stick their noses into everything their kids are doing. They make a lot of rules, some of which make sense, and others that are useless, and expect the kids to follow them, no questions asked. The kids, of course, often have no choice but to follow them, because otherwise they get punished. This might sound really weird to you, but my parents have never set any rules for me. They never tell me what I can or cannot do. They don't question the things I do, either. That's how it's always been at our house. When I was a kid, I didn't realize that this wasn't normal. I thought that's how it is for everyone. But eventually, after seeing how other kids and their parents interact with each other, I realized that this wild life with no rules was something unique to my family. My mom and dad have always treated me as if I were an adult. For example, when it was time for me to start school, they sat me down and said, Gemma, do you want to go to school? You can homeschool with private tutors if you want. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. I was very young then and didn't really know what school was. I just knew that almost all the other kids were going to school, and I thought it would be fun to play with them. I said I want to go to school just because I wanted to play. After that, my dad said, deal, but if you change your mind at some point, you can stop going. You don't even have to tell us that you don't want to go anymore. We'll figure it out when we see that you stopped. At first, I was only going to school so I could play with other kids, but eventually, I started to like what I was learning, and I decided to keep on going. By the way, for those of you who are curious, my grades are not bad at all. But my parents have never asked me, do you have homework? Or what did you get on your so-and-so test? When I tell my mom I got a good grade, she's happy for me, but that's as far as it goes, and she never brings it up herself. Yes, I'm in school, but my parents don't put any pressure on me to get good grades. I think that actually helps me to do better in school. So why are my parents acting like this? Because they both had problems with the rules they had to follow when they were kids. When my mom was a girl, she had a notebook she carried with her all the time. When her parents made up a rule for her, she wrote it down. They made up so many rules that she couldn't keep track of them unless she wrote them down. My dad grew up in an orphanage. He also had a ton of rules he had to follow the whole time. By the time they both turned 18, they couldn't take it anymore and ended up leaving their homes and going traveling. They met in a mountain village in Peru and got married a week later. That day, they promised each other, in the future, when we have a child, we will never have any rules for her. She'll grow up to be the freest child in the world. Obviously, that child is me. I don't know if I'm the freest kid in the world, but I'm definitely the freest one among my friends. Some of my friends actually don't like the fact that there are no rules in our house. They say, this is too much. Sure, nobody likes to have too many rules, but we're still just kids. Our parents need to have at least some rules for us. I want you to help me figure out who's right. Let me give you a few more examples, and you can tell me if you think I have too much freedom. Let me know what you think in the comments after you finish watching. Just like with everything else, my parents don't set any rules when it comes to going online or playing games. During last summer vacation, I got addicted to Candy Crush. I played so much that by the time I finally got bored and quit, I was on level 5430. Those who've played it know that this game looks easy, but some levels are extremely hard. There were times when I didn't leave my room and played Candy Crush for 3 days straight. I would only get up when I really had to go to the bathroom. I was totally going too far. My parents were bringing me food, saying, we missed you, love, and sitting with me for a while. I couldn't stop because I was obsessed with the game. Despite all this, my parents never said a word about it to me the whole time, because they are completely against forbidding me from doing whatever I want. Do you think there are any restrictions when it comes to food? Of course not. There is no set dinner time in our house. Whoever wants to eat will eat whatever and whenever they want. My dad loves to cook. Every time I open the fridge, there is some food that he's prepared, but I don't have to eat it if I don't want to. For example, the other day at breakfast, I told my mom, I feel like having ice cream. She replied, check the fridge to see if we have any. If not, we can get it delivered. I don't know how that sounds to you, but some days I only have ice cream for breakfast. Last winter, I had chips for dinner every night for a month and a half. Of course, that wasn't healthy at all. But in the end, I was the one who decided healthy at all. But in the end, I was the one who decided to stop instead of my parents telling me to. I don't think there's anything wrong with living in a house with no food rules either. I think it's wonderful to eat only the things that you feel like eating. As I said earlier, my parents don't even forbid me from getting tattoos. I can get as many tattoos or piercings as I want, but most tattoo artists don't believe me. Every time they ask me to bring them a signed letter from my parents. For my 5th tattoo, I wanted to get a small butterfly on my neck. I went to a tattoo artist who I heard was really good. She had a daughter around my age. Even though I showed her my letter, she said it's not right for a kid your age to get tattoos, and refused to give me one. She even asked for my mom's number and called her up right away. She argued with my mom for allowing me to get a tattoo. In the end, I couldn't wait any longer and sneaked out from the shop. As I was running out the door, the woman was screaming behind me. To tell you the truth, I can understand why other parents are mad at mine. They think that a kid raised with as much freedom as I had would be a bad example for other kids. They are right. Because when my friends see how I live, they start questioning the rules their families impose on them and stop following them. This, of course, doesn't make the parents happy. When I was 9, I went to a friend's slumber party for the first time. We were playing a really fun board game and laughing like crazy. At some point, my friend's mom came in. "Girls, it's past 11. You'd better go to bed," she said. It was the first time I was seeing a mom tell her kid what to do. This was really weird for me because I wasn't used to it. But the weirdest part was that everyone suddenly stopped playing. When I saw that, I said, "But we were having so much fun. Let's keep playing. It's too early to go to bed yet." The girls stared at me in disbelief. They were shocked that I had the nerve to say something like that. My friend's mom frowned and said, "Gemma, in our house, when the grown-ups say something, the kids do what they are told." Naively, I asked her, "And what happens if they don't?" She said, "Of course, they get punished." Because there are no rules in our house, there are no punishments either. When my mom said they get punished, I didn't even know what she was talking about. Even though it's been years since this happened, I still can't wrap my head around the concept of punishment. One time, I made plans to go to the movies with a friend. When I called her, she said, "I can't make it, I'm grounded. I can't leave my room this weekend." I asked her why. She had asked her dad, "My allowance is too low, could you raise it a little bit?" For some reason, her dad got super angry and grounded her for the whole weekend. I think it makes no sense that parents see it as their right to punish their kids. Grown-ups think they are the boss of the house, and unfortunately, kids often accept that without any objections. Now you know my story. Would you like to grow up in a house where you are free to do anything? Or do you think having no rules is not a good thing? I'm really curious about what you think. Please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for listening to me. See you.